Okay, so let's see. For this one, we got a negative root 7, and then negative root 6, and negative root 3. So the first thing I'll do is just take care of all of these negatives and rewrite them using the I notation. So that gives me I root 7, and then each of these is going to come out as an I, and so I would have I squared, and then the 6 times the 3 underneath the radical would make 18. And so this is like I times a second I times 6 times 3. So I squared and then root 18. I squared is negative 1. And so that's going to put a negative out front there. And so then that 18, there's a couple of ways to look at it. Let me do kind of the two-step version, and I'll point out that you can also do a one-step version. The two-step one I think is a little more intuitive. So this 18 can be simplified, and whenever we have something in the denominator of a radical, we have to fix that up by rationalizing it. So I am going to simplify this as much as I can. I'm looking at a 9 and a 2 in there, so I'm going to bring a 3 out front, because square root of 9 would make a 3, and then that root 2 would stay behind. So that got me a little closer, but I still have to do something about this root 2. And then that's where I'm going to rationalize the denominator by multiplying root 2 over root 2. And this is just a clever form of 1, but what it's going to do is go root 2 times root 2, and that's going to make that a plane 2, which is what we're trying to get to. 2 by 2's in that sentence. So this will be negative I, and then square root 2 times square root 7. They're both under the radical, so those would multiply, and that makes square root 14. And then this would be 3, and then times root 2 would be square root 4, or 2. So if you multiply root by itself, it clears the radical. And then you might be slightly tempted to do some sort of reduction there. Don't do it, because this is under a root, this is not, so those do not reduce. And that gives us a final of square root 14 over 6. And then it shouldn't matter, but just in case, if they're being really, really strict about the formatting, that would be, it's saying write it as a complex number. Okay, so this would be a little tiny bit more proper, just having the I on the end, but I would imagine it should take both answers. Cool, hopefully that helps.